Hi, 12 Stone. Welcome to Family Devos. It is Thursday night, so it is a C12 edition, and we're glad you're here. My husband and I, a few months ago, decided we wanted to be able to sit outside in the Georgia weather without being bitten by the mosquitoes that are the size of birds. So we looked at our neighbor's house, and they had this portable gazebo that they'd put on their deck, and seemed to be working out really well for them. And we thought, let's do that, because we don't want to right now pay for enclosing our deck, putting a roof on, all that mess. So we'll do what they did. I researched, because that's what I like to do, spent a week looking everywhere for the perfect gazebo to go on our deck, and we got it, put it together, and have been enjoying it for the last couple of months. Jeff and I have coffee together every morning out there, free from the bugs, and we hang out there at night, all the things, you know the drill. So this last week, now we live in Tequila, and if you live anywhere in that area, you know that some kind of strange hailstorm came down upon that area. Literally, it was sunny and beautiful and hot 1 minute, and then the very next minute the temperature dropped out. It was 20 degrees cooler. Our deck looked like the Sonic ice machine, you know what I'm talking about? Like threw up all over our deck, like just a whole fat layer of Sonic ice is what it looked like. And as you can imagine, maybe, our gazebo was shredded. Like the poles were like popped in half. The awning was stripped down to just little strips of fabric. And we stood there at the window and looked out at it in this like longing, like, oh no, you know, it was a lot of work and we spent the money and we were just mad about it. Then we were more disturbed when we looked at our neighbors. Our neighbors looked untouched, like completely fine, standing strong, no rips in the fabric. They had the Sonic ice hail all over the rest of their deck in the yard, but not bothering the gazebo. And we thought, what did we do wrong? Oh, right. Upon further investigation, we discovered that our neighbors had bolted theirs down to the deck. We zip-tied ours. We zip-tied the gazebo to the little wooden poles on the side of the deck, which did not provide adequate foundation for a June hailstorm. Now, I remember when we were putting it up and we thought, Jeff said, I remember standing on the deck and Jeff said, we should bolt these down. I say, why? Why would we bolt them down? Because we're from the north. We moved here from Wisconsin. We know bad weather. That's not what happens down here. This does not happen. We have no need to bolt them down. Let's just zip tie them. Yeah. So June hailstorm in Georgia taught me differently. So when we say rooted in prayer at 12 Stone, we're talking about being more than zip tied. When we say, what are you rooted in? We're saying, what are you bound to? We're saying that when the thing you thought would never happen happens, what happens to you? There's a verse I want to read to you from the book of Colossians. Colossians 2:6-7. It says, so then, just as you received Christ Jesus as Lord, continue to live your lives in him. And now here's verse 7. Rooted and built up in him, strengthened in the faith as you were taught, and overflowing with thankfulness. It says rooted and built up in him. Built up in. Right now in the world, there's nothing anymore that I think could never happen. Global pandemic, that'll never happen. Oh, yes, it will. Right? Quarantine never happened. Oh, yes, it will. This kind of unemployment rate, these kinds of tensions that exist, that'll never happen. Oh, yes, it will. We all have things that we think will never happen, and then they do. Or things we never thought to think about. They weren't even in our scope of imagination. and then they happen. And it reveals whether we're rooted or zip tied. I mean, as strange of a metaphor as it seems, you can be tied around something but not rooted in it. You can be close in proximity but not have it deeply processed and not have a deep presence in something, or allow God to have a deep presence in you. See, zip tied looks like, I'll talk with the Lord later. I'll talk to my neighbor about Jesus later. I'll pick up my Bible later. I'll show up later. It's always later. And Jeff and I thought, we'll secure it later. We'll get to that later. And then by the time later gets there, the never has happened. And it's too late. And it turns out that the zip ties we thought were going to be the cheaper route turned out to be the more expensive route. We had to buy a new gazebo. So we did buy a new gazebo, and we're mad about it. We're mad about it because we had to pay more money to buy a new gazebo, but you better believe we're rooting it down. You better believe we're gonna bolt it and screw it down and whatever else it takes so that it can't be lifted up off of the deck anymore and shredded. So my question for you and for me is, what are you rooted in? What are we rooted in? We talk about being rooted in prayer here, and it's not something that could come later, and it's honestly not something that you can shortcut. It's not something that you just do. Let me try this. So what are you rooted in? What are we rooted in? When we say rooted in prayer at 12 Stone, we're not talking about taking a shortcut or doing the minimum necessary. We're not talking about saying to the Lord, what's the absolute least I can do and still be good with you? We're talking about going all in. We're talking about making the heavy investment up front. We're talking about doing the hard work from the beginning, so that when the never happens or the whatever happens or the unimaginable happens, there is no storm, no June hailstorm that will take you out. You will be rooted firm in your faith, like Colossians says, because you are built up in Him, not around, but in Him.
In the crushing, in the pressing, you will make it wide. In the soil I now surrender, you will break it apart. So I yield to you into your careful hand. for